custom Explosher is coming! Eventually. As of writing this script, we're in the second half of Drizzle Season 2023, and there's no signs that custom Explosher is getting added to the game anytime soon. Many times now, new seasons have been announced, and I've been asked by one person or another,
"Hey, tapout, what should Expo get for its second kit?"
And although I should have a definitive answer for this question at this point, there's a lot of nuance to what a second Explosher kit could look like in Splatoon 3. I made a custom Explosher kit back in 2022, before Chill Season was even announced. And since then, my understanding of the game, my skills as an Explo and Anchor main, as well as Explosher's role in the competitive meta has changed a lot. To put a long story short, that kit was trash! So let's go over Explosher's current kit and invent not one, not two, but 3 potential kits that I would like to see on Custom Explosher. Subscribe if you're new, let's get into it. In order to talk about new kits for Explosher, I think it's important to understand the kit it currently has and what the strengths and weaknesses of it are. As it stands, Explosher's current kit of Point Sensor and Inkstorm help to accentuate the strengths of the weapon, while leaving a bit to be desired in accounting for its weaknesses. Explosher as a main weapon excels at pressuring chip damage and paint in bursts, being able to threaten it safely and consistently over walls and from far away. Inkstorm allows Explosher to extend how long it can put out pressure, as well as temporarily increase the range it has on its damage and paint. Point Sensor is great for keeping track of fleeing enemies which might be injured or escaping your range, and it also helps Explosher aim at opponents behind walls without the distraction of repeatedly pulling up the map to try and anticipate their movements. Overall, this kit synergizes very well to help Explosher focus paint and pressure on a specific area, while also having Point Sensor to anticipate flanks or track down enemies escaping your area of effect. Now, what might this kit be not so great at? It turns out a few really important things, namely getting run down and getting counter pressured. Point Sensor can help Explosher anticipate enemies who are trying to rush it down, but with a weapon as ink hungry as Explosher, throwing a bunch of point sensors just to not die is distracting from the role you should be playing on a team, as well as not even being all that helpful. Throwing a point sensor leaves you vulnerable, which makes it best to use mostly for your team. Inkstorm, similarly, does not help against opponents who simply choose to run at you. It's slow to activate, slow to kill without any damage follow-ups, and too valuable to waste in a panic scenario. I run a main of Special Charge on my main Explosher build, and I get an average of 6 Inkstorms in a 5-minute match. That is too few to be blowing one on some cocky T-Tech player far more capable of killing you at a close range than you are at killing him. The kit also doesn't help much against Explosher's other main weakness, enemy backliners. Explosher's damage is really consistent against weapons that are too far away to fight back, but when the weapon you're fighting has longer range than you and a far faster kill time, it's easy for Explosher to end up cowering behind cover hoping it doesn't get pressured out of it by a special or a bomb. Once again, neither Inkstorm nor Point Sensor help cover this weakness very well. You can throw an Inkstorm to displace an enemy backline, but all this is likely to do is get them to relocate to a slightly different spot and wait out the Inkstorm. On paper, this could provide an opportunity for your team to move in and kill whatever frontliners were keeping the anchor safe, but in practice, it's far more effective to use some other special on the anchor and use your Inkstorm on the guys close enough for you to hit. Overall, Explosher's kit is very good at accenting strengths of area control while leaving much to be desired in the way of self-defense. With this understanding in mind, we can start to brainstorm new kit ideas with different strengths, weaknesses, and utilities in mind. Starting with the kit I see as most unique, the Firefin Explosher, with squid beacons and crab tank. This kit aims to give Explosher new utility and a few new options against getting rushed down and enemy backliners. Explosher would be able to take many new positions with squid beacons, allowing Explo to super jump back to safer positions after moving up, as well as provide safe jumps for your teammates without having to stay in an anchor position. You could even place beacons in further up positions to locate enemies on the map without ever hitting them. Squid beacons really open up positioning options for the more cerebral Explo players who don't mind keeping an eye on the map a little more than they already do. Crab tank takes good advantage of beacons as well, since Explosher can preemptively place beacons in places it could use as a crab tank spot and jump to those beacons when it gets a full special meter. From there, crab tank does crab things. It can hold space, it can get picks on enemy anchors, it can help force its team in with oppressive firepower, it can even help Explo fight other specials. You know, that thing it sucks really bad at right now. I think it's a crying shame we haven't gotten this kit on any weapon in the game yet, but I especially think it would be a shame not to see it on Explosher in particular. This kit trades some of the concentrated, sustained pressure of vanilla Explosher in return for a far more flexible and dynamic Explo that I would be more than happy to see in the game. Don't get comfy yet though. We still have two other very interesting kits to talk about, such as Explosher Deco, with line marker and, yes, Tenem missiles. Now, stay with me here, I promise things aren't as bad as they look. I wanted to make a kit which helps Explosher further excel at chip damage in exchange for some of the utility it gets from point sensor. Line marker does sizable chip damage very quickly from a long range without consuming very much ink, and it can even be used to very quickly paint Explosher's feet for faster getaways and repositioning. This is a dream sub-weapon for Explosher. Every aspect of line marker synergizes extremely well with Explosher, and out of every sub-weapon it could get in a second kit, I think this is my pick for the one I would want to see the most. Now, about the elephant in the room. Tenem missiles. For this kit in particular, I spent a long time thinking about the special which could pair best with line marker. I thought about Whale, Wavebreaker, and even Kraken, but none of the potential strengths of those specials felt as fitting as the many utilities Tenem missiles has with both line marker and Explosher. Missiles are excellent for collecting information on where the enemies are and forcing one or all of them to move in a predictable way. Missiles are also fast to deploy, making it easy to use them when you're low on ink as a quick ink tank refill to sustain your ranged pressure. Overall, scattering a group of enemies and quickly following up with fast, ranged chip damage is the name of the game with Explosher Deco. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for. The follow-up, 1 year in the making, the custom Explosher, with ink mines and Trizooka. I see this Explosher as the most similar to the vanilla Explosher out of the three. Ink mines are a fantastic sub-weapon for Explosher, helping Explo with its self-defense. Ink mines are cheap and have relatively short white ink frames, making for an easy setup and excellent passive reward. With ink mines properly set up, custom Explosher could recover more quickly from specials which paint over its perch. Mines could also defend against ambushes, dealing chip damage and reducing the precious number of shots needed to kill, potentially down to just one. Trizooka is also the best special to pair with mines, as it counteracts Explo's other weaknesses. Zuka is great at shredding object specials like Booyah Bomb and Crab Tank, and with proper aim, it also easily takes care of Zipcaster and Inkjet. Enemy backliners, without much exaggeration, would be doomed against Trizooka if they aren't able to anticipate it or flee properly. Explo would also be the first anchor with Trizooka, and since there aren't any anchors with Big Bubbler, the easiest counter to Zuka at the moment, it would be an incredibly difficult thing to counterplay as the enemy anchor. I love this kit, and out of these three Exploshers, it's definitely my personal favorite. Having a more skill-oriented special with the potential for higher impact would make for a very different flow of gameplay, and ink mines are so effortless to set up and recover ink from that it feels perfect for Explosher. And those are three brand spanking new Exploshers. Way better than your average sprinkler reference kit if you ask me. If you liked hearing me talk extensively about Explosher, but you have some questions, follow me over on Twitch. I play a bunch of Splatoon there and I'm always willing to answer questions about Explosher. Links to it and the songs used are in the description. Thank you so much for watching.